You're with NewsMakers. On the panel, Bruce Ansley, Alec, Neill and Clayton, Cosgrove. It's 11 weeks on tomorrow since the big one. Is the Earthquake Commission on top of the job? Information seems to be power here, doesn't it? And the backlog in unprocessed claims is colossal. I think we're looking at about 80,000 that haven't even been touched from that pile yet. Is the waiting time unacceptable or understandable? How do we see it? Bruce, your observations.
Well, I think it's understandable. I mean, my personal dealing with the EQC has been all good. They gave me some good advice. I sent them an email, then I had a follow-up question. The email was fairly prompt. I got through to their 0800 number quickly. Compare that with the IRD, for example, and the advice was right on the button. Very good advice, even though it meant more work for them. So I'm personally very happy with them. Mm-hmm. I think that time's going to tell. It's the centre city that's my big worry about this, and how that's going to develop, or are we going to be left with a fairly bereft city? Mm.
Alec, how do you see it?
Exactly the same. My own personal experiences with them have been very good. The damage that I have to a property is minor and they've never been to see it, but that's not a criticism of them. To me, they can come in 6 or 8 months' time. In real terms, there are people that are desperate, and they're the people that I want them to be seen first. I'm pleased to see that Fletchers are in place and that they've started work and that they're distributing work to builders, etc. Builders have geared up for this. To date, there's been sort of nothing happening. It's now starting to happen. It's a huge task, and I actually congratulate them on the way that they've conducted themselves.
And this is uncharted territory, isn't it, for New Zealand, really, the magnitude of it?
Yep. And I'll congratulate the Mayor of Christchurch and his team as well. I think they've actually done a good job.
Okay. It would appear to me that officers like yours, the electorate officers, are vital, perhaps unsung heroes in terms of the mix of getting the information out and getting correct information to people. How have you found it as an electorate MP and interfacing with government and so forth?
Well, I'd share the views about the EQC. I mean, we've had, I think, I don't know about MPs, I think our staffs have been pretty heroic.
Sure.
The caseload in our case
massive.
was quadrupled.
Yeah. But
our staffs have been putting in extra hours and doing their bit, which is great. But I think here are the pressure points. I think EQC has done as best a job as it can, and I've had public meetings. I've had 600, 1,300 people at some of these meetings, and Mr Simpson, the Chief Executive, has fronted up, no excuses, stayed till about 10 o'clock one night with 50 people in a queue to deal with them. That is great. But here are the pressure points. You mentioned communication. I have to say, Jerry Brownlee, my opposite number, best intentions, and I think he did like Alec, the project management stuff with Fletcher's really good. But the communication's been appalling. People have been very brittle about that. You cannot go and communicate to 1,200 people and not communicate to everybody else, because neighbours talk to each other. They lean over the fence, they say, hey, and you got a pack, you got a phone call. I didn't. They panic. They say, look, we've been left off the list. They come to our offices in tears, actually, and then we've got to recycle them through the process. So I think the communication process, best intentions, no politics in this, but was stuffed up. I think there are a number of issues that have got to be forward-looking and got to be addressed now. People are on 6 to 12 months temporary accommodation insurance. Yeah. This is a big issue for the city and for our economy. They're not spending. Why? Because they made a logical decision to say, I don't know what's going to happen when my insurance runs out. I'm at the bottom of the abyss. I'll be paying rent on the one hand for the temporary property and the mortgage on the other hand for a house I can't get into. So I'm saving like a squirrel. Yes. That's what they're doing. Now, I've said to Jerry, look, you've got to address this. You can't wait for 6 months. You've got to get out there and say, is there any assistance going to be offered? That might loosen the purse strings for people. It might be able to buy the kids a few Christmas presents. But there is a high degree of tension around that. Okay. And especially for small businesses. There are small businesses who've got the doors open in our cities. No one is coming because it looks like Beirut, and their insurers, they're not eligible for income interruption because the doors are open. There's a whole series of pressure points there.
All right, we'll keep an eye on those. Thank you for the feedback. Just very quickly, on the lighter side of life, it certainly has given Britain a lift, and it led every cable TV news channel around the clock, wall to wall. A royal wedding is on our way next year. William and Catherine, as she will become. Are we looking at the future King and Queen of New Zealand, or will we cut the cord before that happens? What do you reckon?
Oh, I think they're a fabulous young couple. I doubt whether Paul Henry will be comparing or getting an invitation to the wedding.
He might sing.
He might sing, yeah. He might be on a small atoll in the Pacific somewhere. But I think they're a great young couple. If it lifts people's spirits in Britain, great. And I don't think it's going to be an earth-shattering, globe-stopping event of our time. As we wade through earthquakes and things. But I think it's next.
Here too, I think. It'll lift
Yeah, I
here
think
too.
it will.
I mean,
do great things for the Women's Weekly, the Women's Day.
It'll lift their circulation, that's for sure.
Yes.
I mean, the apron strings are getting a bit tatty, but they're still in place, and there seems to be no great Republican groundswell building up. It's just an issue that gets picked up and left alone. So why not, as they say, sit back and enjoy it.
Fair enough. You think it's lovely, Alec, don't you?
I think it's absolutely lovely, and what it has done is my 35-year-old son living in Ireland, it's actually motivated him, or probably she asked, but he's actually got engaged himself this week. So if that was the motivation,
you heard it first on CTV.
because Willie did it, then I'm very pleased.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. To the pick of the week, and this photo was taken of a sign in a city park in Nigeria. We travel the world for you. The sign reads, undisciplined children will be towed away at parental expense or sold as slaves. The message from this, toe the line. To the Newsmakers poll. Last week's question, should the City Council be granted sole responsibility for our public transport system? 41% of you said yes. 59% no, although that may have changed in the last few days, who knows? The prize winner, H. Kelly. This week's question, this has been a wee bit dated by events in the last 24 hours. Should MPs lose their international air travel perks in exchange for a pay rise? Although I think the Remuneration Authority is going to consider this. Yes or no, email newsmakers@ctv.co.nz, post to PO Box 1100 Christchurch, or vote on the web. Do so. You'll be in to win a very nice $50 MTA voucher, perfect for a summer trip, and also the finest festive coffee from Starbucks. Good luck. Thank you very much to our panel. All Blacks over Ireland, very quickly, score?
Absolutely. 30 points.
30 points. Oh, Bruce.
40 at the very least.
Really? Mr. Irishman?
I'll give them 35 points in for a victory. Well done, the All Blacks.
There you go. Have a good weekend. Thanks to our panel. Good night.